These home videos and some family snapshots are about all Michael Krein's 3 children have left to keep their cherished memories of their devoted dad alive.
He had a good heart. He was very helpful, and he would do just about anything for his kids.
Despite the divorce, Michael's ex-wife Debbie still speaks highly of him as both a father and a husband.
We spent 15 wonderful years together and split up 3 years ago, but still remained best friends.
You still love him?
Every day.
Debbie fondly recalls the many happy years they spent as a family in the San Diego bedroom community of Escondido, where 47-year-old Michael was a sheet metal worker.
We always were out camping. We loved to go out and do family stuff. We took trips to San Francisco and Hertz Castle, and every summer we'd do something fun.
And even after their divorce, Debbie says Michael rarely went a day without seeing or at least talking to his kids.
The day he went missing I was actually wondering when he was going to show up.
Michael never did, and those close to him began to fear for his safety after being unable to reach him for several days.
And when none of us got a response, we kind of knew something was wrong.
We were really concerned and called the police department.
Where officers initially treated it as a missing persons case.
We had a family that was very concerned, and this was not very out of character for him and at the time.
Michael's family last saw him around 9:30 Saturday morning. Michael's girlfriend, Jennifer DePace, picked him up in her car at the home of his mother, Jenny.
Said they were going to go to Knoxbury Farm. And that was the last time I saw him.
Michael's banking records would later reveal that he and Jennifer instead went to breakfast at a local bar called the Sunset Lounge. Investigators would learn they stayed there for several hours before leaving together in the early afternoon before going to Jennifer's home. And in the evening, there was trouble. Investigators discover
there had been some kind of altercation or some kind of maybe an argument going on between the two.
Investigators would find evidence that it had become very heated.
There was a door that was broken during the fight at the residence.
And Jennifer would tell CHP investigators that Michael decided to leave.
He called a cab to respond up to the property to retrieve him and then take him back to his house. Our investigation also revealed that the cab did arrive, but Michael was not there. The cab driver spoke with the girlfriend, who said she didn't know where he was and that he had walked off. The cab driver then actually drove around looking for Michael and couldn't locate him.
The search grew, and a group called California Advocates for the Missing also got involved.
We had flyers made, arranged for 40 volunteers to go out and search for him, and made his missing page.
As the days passed with no sign of Michael, hopes of finding him alive were fading.
What were you thinking?
Hope. I had hope that maybe he was injured, but he was okay somewhere.
And something his mother Jenny used to say jokingly to Michael was about to turn tragically prophetic.
I was always teasing him when he wouldn't come home. You know, someday you're going to be the one laying on the side of the road.
Eerily, that's exactly how a group of searchers would find Michael Krein's body 10 days after he went missing. And get this, it was less than 2 miles from his girlfriend's house on a side road he would never have taken to get to his place almost 20 miles away in Escondido. Where he was found again raises the question, was Michael Krein the victim of a hit and run? Or was he killed and then dumped in a ditch?
His body was found over here?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it was found here approximately about maybe 15 feet, kind of over the side here.
How does a mother know?
But now Jenny is tormented by what she doesn't know.
I just hope that he wasn't laying there for 2 weeks. If he died quickly, that's one thing. But if he laid there waiting for us to try to find him for days, that's hard.
Debbie hasn't had it easy either.
What was that news like? It changed your life forever.
Devastating. Yeah. I kind of knew. When I hadn't heard from him for 2 weeks, I knew.
Because Michael's body was found on a state road and his death possibly involved a car, the California Highway Patrol took over the case, initially thought to be a likely hit and run. Until CHP investigators examined the body and the crime scene.
You could see he had some trauma to his body. but we didn't see any typical signs you would see in type of investigation like that with vehicle parts or tire friction marks or skid marks.
The medical examiner couldn't say for sure that Michael was killed by a car either, declaring the cause of death undetermined and concluding, quote, given the location where he was found and the injuries incurred, it is possible he was struck by a motor vehicle. However, the possibility that he met with foul play cannot be ruled out.
He definitely didn't look to me like he was hit by a car.
And she noticed something else.
He didn't have his sunglasses, which seemed really weird to me. Mike was known for wearing sunglasses. He had super sensitive eyes. He didn't have a ring on that he has had on for 17 years. He didn't have cigarettes, which he would always have cigarettes and a lighter.
Mom, Jenny, made another similar observation.
There's two things Michael never went anywhere without, and that was his backpack and his phone. And those two things were never found with him.
If someone did hit him right there where we found him, his personal stuff would be with him.
That information from Jenny and Debbie would lead CHP investigators to develop an alternate and more troubling theory about Michael's death.
That he was killed somewhere else and was dumped on the side of the road.
Is Jennifer a person of interest in this death?
Yes, she is, in addition to anybody else that could have been involved in this. She's not 100% ruled out.
Neither Jennifer nor anyone else has ever been charged in Michael's death, but the news that Michael was with Jennifer the entire day he went missing would come as a terrible shock to his already grieving ex-wife, Debbie. She says Jennifer was one of her best friends, but never told her she'd been dating Michael.
You didn't find this out until...
A week after Mike went missing.
How did you feel?
Devastated. Betrayed.
Do you feel she stabbed you in your back?
Definitely.
In fact, Debbie says Jennifer denied it when she confronted her over the phone.
To this day, she would never admit to dating him, not to me. She told the detectives, but she would have never mentioned it to me.
And Debbie says now she wonders if Jennifer might have had something to do with Michael's death, even though police have never charged her.
And until you tell me otherwise, I'm gonna think that.
But Debbie would find an unlikely ally in her own ex-husband, who agreed to talk to Crime Watch Daily with the promise we wouldn't show his face.
I'm praying that she had very, very little to do with that situation.
At first, he defended his ex-wife Jennifer until she pointed the finger at him as a possible suspect, telling police she thinks he might have killed Michael because he was jealous.
She did mention that. This is troubling because it is suspicious.
They're not sure if Michael Krein was killed in a hit and run as it initially appeared when his body was found in a roadside ditch. And they're exploring the possibility that he was murdered in another location and that his body had been dumped.
There's a lot of unanswered questions that are still going on.
There's a lot of finger-pointing among those closest to Michael, with his ex-wife suspicious of girlfriend Jennifer DePace and Jennifer deflecting blame toward her ex-husband, who's trying to throw it back on Jennifer and her family.
There was a lot of rumors and speculations that were flying around, and those were all looked at and ruled out or ruled in as part of the investigation.
Much of the talk was sparked by Jennifer's admission to police that she'd had a violent argument with Michael the night he went missing, and the CHP says Jennifer is the last known person to have seen Michael alive.
It's also rumored that Jennifer brought her black truck in for repairs on the front end. Did you all look into that?
Yes, we did. That was ruled out.
But Jennifer has never been charged and denies having anything to do with Michael's death. And she tells police they should instead take a closer look at her ex-husband.
She tried to point the finger at him.
Yes.
Investigators had already wondered themselves whether he might have been jealous over Jennifer's relationship with Michael.
Was Jennifer's ex-husband ever questioned as a possible suspect?
Yes, he was.
And on the condition that we would not show his face, he now tells Crime Watch Daily what he told authorities.
When the investigator said exactly these words to me verbatim, what would you say if we told you that she's saying that you might have had something to do with it? And I said, well, not only would she be wrong, that would tell me that she's trying to point the attention away from her.
Jennifer's ex vehemently denies having anything to do with Michael's death.
Where in your right mind would you ever make that allegation based on what?
He also denies speculation that he was jealous about his ex-wife dating Michael.
It didn't bother me because he was actually one of the characters I trusted. Because his daughter and my daughter were friends.
And Jennifer's ex redirects suspicion right back at her.
Jennifer needs to come forward with the truth.
Then something we never expected. In this shocking, bitter blame game, Jennifer's ex makes a startling allegation about Jennifer's parents, the owners of a family winery where their daughter also has a house.
Her parents know something about this, and somebody at that winery where they live on has some information.
This is the last known place where Michael Krein was with his girlfriend Jennifer on the property of her family's winery. We're going here to see if she or her family has something to say to sort things out. I'm greeted by Jennifer's younger brother.
We just wanted to do due diligence to give you and your family a chance to respond to some things that people are saying.
Jennifer's father, Gerardo, joins his son and gets right to the point.
If anything was done, committed, that is unlawful, and the police should have been on us and tell us what we've done wrong. You see no police out here.
Jennifer's brother scoffs at her ex-husband's accusations against her and her family.
Her ex-husband is probably willing to say anything to disparage my sister because they're in a custody situation right now over their daughter.
Now Jennifer's mother is listening as I tell the family he suggested her husband may be covering up the crime for his daughter or even had something to do with Michael's death.
I think it could be greater towards the father that had a lot more to do with this than her, because he told me on several occasions, I don't like Mike and I've chased him off this property several times.
He said that you probably killed Michael Krein, that you wanted him. He said that you had said you didn't want him around and that you probably took him out.
Oh, wow. That's the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard.
Look at my face and how calm I am, and how there is nothing more important to me in my life and within my family that to have steadfastness, belief in the law, and abiding by the law.
Then Jennifer's ex makes another sensational allegation against his former father-in-law.
You're talking about a very rich man with a lot of power with ties to mafia in New Orleans.
It's not true.
Listen,
It's absolutely
Of course it's not true.
the one thing,
My husband, I know him for 46 years.
Rosa, please.
He worked hard since he came from Italy. From day one, he busted his ass.
Please.
Not like him.
Despite the allegations, no one in Jennifer's family has ever been charged, and now they're firing back at Jennifer's ex, claiming he was in the middle of a bitter custody battle over the kids and may have killed Michael.
He could have done it.
He had serious issues.
He could have done it.
Jennifer's ex-husband had claimed that Jennifer, and maybe even her family, could have had something to do with the mysterious death of her boyfriend, Michael Kry.
That's a big allegation.
It's a huge allegation, and I'll say it all the time.
But in this bitter game of he said, she said, Jennifer and her family think her ex himself could have killed Michael out of jealousy.
He would come up here, he's screaming and yelling, and he might have thought he saw a car in the driveway over there, thought she was dating. It wouldn't be a stretch to think that he came up there and found the two of them and.
But CHP investigators say there's no evidence to connect Jennifer's ex-husband to Michael's death.
We determined that he had no involvement based on our interview that we had with him.
The California Highway Patrol doesn't know exactly what happened to Michael Krein. He could have been killed in a hit-and-run accident, but once the coroner revealed Michael's cause of death to be undetermined, the finger-pointing began, and one person of interest is his girlfriend, Jennifer.
She's not 100% ruled out.
And Jennifer's former hubby, along with Michael's mother, Jenny, and his ex-wife, Debbie, all still suspect Jennifer might have killed her boyfriend, even though cops have never filed charges.
Well, I haven't heard anything she's had to say. Not one word. She has never called us once to say, I'm sorry, or anything.
She just left the situation and has never been seen or heard from since. The father of my kids died.
The family has so many questions of Jennifer. We're going to her home where Michael was last reported being alive to see if she has any answers for us.
But the only one who responds to repeated knocks on her door is a dog. But then Jennifer suddenly appears through another door of her home at the family winery.
Hi, Jennifer. Narissa Knight with Crime Watch Daily. We just wanted to ask you, do you have anything to say to the family of Michael? The kids, they say you never even reached back to say you're sorry their father died.
No, I don't.
She's angry we're here, but Jennifer would also break her silence about Michael's death.
People are making allegations saying that you might have killed Michael.
That's ridiculous.
You had nothing
to say. Absolutely not. I would never do anything to hurt anyone, so that's ridiculous.
It's all lies. What happened that day?
Please don't stay at my home, please.
Jennifer just told us that she'd never had anything to do with Michael's death, and she's asked us to leave her property, so we are.
Neither Jennifer, her family, nor anyone else has been charged in connection with Michael's death. And now, 18 months after Michael was found dead, CHP investigators are still trying to learn what happened to him.
Do you have any other leads that you're following, any other persons of interest that you're investigating?
At this time, no. We've pretty much exhausted everything we've had, all the leads, and unfortunately, we're kind of at our dead end right now.
But that doesn't mean they believe Michael was killed in a hit and run, or that their investigation is over.
We all agree that there's something more to it. It's just a matter of time, but I think it will eventually it'll work its way out, and we'll find out exactly what happened.
And Michael's ex-wife Debbie and his mom Jenny are living for the day they finally learn who killed him.
I took away a loving father, a loving son. He had a long life to live yet. Took away part of my heart.
Every day. It just doesn't seem fair. It's not fair. And somebody's still just walking around, living every day, enjoying, and we're just kind of lost, and we just need answers.